here's another thought I was just thinking of. Okay, so with this coronavirus scare going on, I believe that it's just totally hyped up. That's really not, much different than the flu. That's my take on it. It's just one of those things that comes and goes or whatever. But why? The question is, why does Donald Trump seem to be going along with it? He's not getting out there and saying that this is fake. It's a hoax. Why isn't he doing that?
Well, was that a rhetorical question? Or?
Well, kind of. I think I know the answer.
I mean, one, he's got to be a president, and
Yeah.
people are worried, and for whatever reason, whether it's legitimate or not. So he needs to show that he's, handling it, and he's doing what a president should do as far as allocating funds and stopping flights in and out from China and different places. So I think part of it is just he's got to be presidential and handle it. It is people are dying. It is a serious thing, but I mean, if he came out and started mocking it, I think that would, I don't know. I think that might hurt him a little bit. I don't know. It's a tough one, but he has said early on. He said, I think this isn't going to be much.
Yeah.
And he kind of said that
yeah.
It's kind of not as big a deal as they think it is. But he could be wrong. We all could be wrong. But I'm in the same camp. I don't think it's any worse than the swine flu of 2009.
Right.
Maybe it's not even as bad as that. And nobody got all bent out of shape about that.
Watching Trump throughout the years, sometimes you wonder, okay, why isn't he doing more about something? But he usually has got there's a long-term strategy. And I think their game plan was they'd come up with this coronavirus scare that blow it way out of proportion, and then try to use it as a trap to set President Trump in, thinking that he would maybe react by saying this is nothing to worry about, and then they'd have all these other landmines waiting for him on that issue. But I think in the long run, he's probably saying, okay, well, they're going to play that game. I will use this game to our advantage. Now we can actually, can hurt globalism in a big way. Right. Because globalism relies on free exchange of people going from this nation to that nation. But he could turn around and say, okay, you want to play that game? I'll have more executive powers. You get more power as a president when you declare national emergency and stuff like that. And he can just instead of falling into their trap, he can just use it to forward as much as he possibly can, and just play the game when they expected him to do something totally different. Yeah. And he's such a poker face, that guy. He purposely makes himself look like he's stumbling, and when the reporters ask him questions, I know his brain's faster than that. He doesn't get to where he's at. They'll start asking questions like, have you got tested? And he starts going, not yet, but it's in the works or whatever. And I'm sure he knows exactly, he probably already been tested or knew he was going to be tested. He is now, but this was before he was tested. But knowing the way he works and listening to some of his audio books, he's no dummy. He knows how to play these guys, and he like Joseph here. Joseph was role playing in our story here, pretending to be somebody he wasn't to accomplish a certain task or a certain thing. And I think President Trump knows how to do that very well. And so I don't really worry about him in that respect because I know what his mission is, and he's going to use whatever situation. In fact, he's probably turning around and using what's that guy's book? That famous communist socialist who wrote the book Rules for Radicals. I think he's using some of their tactics against them.
Yeah. If you know their playbook.
Something Ski. What was his name? I can't remember, but he's definitely playing 3D chess while they're playing checkers, and it's hilarious. So, I'll be curious to see how this finally unfolds when I believe it becomes a big nothing burger, and all of a sudden we just go back to life as normal.
Saul
Lewinsky. It'll be interesting to see what is the final outcome. I mean, do we actually benefit more from this? even though we're taking a temporary suffering through what's going to look like a temporary economic disruption. But I think in the long run, maybe it'll cut some of our dependence. Well, here's one example. He already signed an executive order, I believe it is, cutting our dependence upon China for prescription drugs, especially prescription drugs that have to do with people with illnesses related to flus and coronavirus and stuff like that. So I think he'll turn around and actually use this for the benefit of America in the long run, even though the others are using it to try to tear down America.
Right. I just
Maybe too late.
The Senate and Pelosi just tried to.
Got to keep fighting till the end.
I know.
Yeah. Think about the Israelites when they were standing in front of the Red Sea, looking back at Pharaoh. It would look like no chance. It's too late. So I think we got to have that mindset that, one of the pitfalls that I've seen throughout the years is, especially Christians that get into prophecy, especially a particular group of people that I was involved with years ago. They wanted everything to go bad because they wanted the end to come. But I used to be like that too when I first started studying. I heard that the Antichrist was coming first. He's going to deceive the world. I just wanted to get on with my primary mission. Now I look back and think, man, if that would have started back then, I was pretty immature. And I didn't learn a lot of the lessons. I still got a lot of lessons to learn, but I was pretty immature. I probably would have totally messed some things up during the tribulation, if the tribulation actually came when I wanted it to. But also, so I'm of the mindset now of, okay, I want to be ready for the end times. I want to be ready at any time if anything happens catastrophic all of a sudden. But I want to plan long term, and I want to be optimistic about everything that I possibly can until, well, I think I want to be optimistic even to the time that if I'm standing there like Stephen getting stoned by stones by the heathens.
But you still have to prepare for the alternative.
Right. I totally agree with you. You got to prepare spiritually and in every other way for the end times to come. Like I brought it up earlier, and now it's too late to go do it now for many people because now it just makes the problem worse. But it's always a good idea to have a food storage in your house and other supplies, and keep those supplies up to a certain inventory all the time throughout every year, so that when something like this happens, you're not all of a sudden running to the grocery store like the mad mob just trying to get toilet paper or rice or canned goods or whatever. There were a few things that I was light on, but overall, we've been keeping food storage for a long time, so I really wasn't that concerned about it. I didn't keep toilet paper. That was the only thing, because I never thought there'd be a rush for toilet paper. So now on my inventory list, I'm going to make sure we have toilet paper in there so that when people run to the store for toilet paper, we don't have to do that. But you want to be like Joseph, like during the famine. We're in this story. It's interesting that we're actually reading about this great famine right now because it was a worldwide catastrophe, but Joseph was prepared. And that's the whole reason his brothers came to him and he was able to see him again, was because he was prepared. He stored the grain up. He knew the famine was coming and he stored the grain up. Well, we know in the end times, Jesus says there will be great famines, pestilences, troubles in the world. And I look at what we're seeing now as a warning to Christians that, hey, this thing might be a nothing burger, but one day there will be a biblical sized famine or a biblical sized pestilence that could wipe out a third of the population or something. And are you prepared for that, at least with the physical things? So, and I also look at it this way: if you're prepared physically, then you're not worried when trouble comes. Now you can just focus on the spiritual things. Okay, so that's why because some people would say, "Well, Pastor Ben, Jesus is going to take care of me, you know. And then they'll read the scripture about a sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without him noticing. Yeah, but at the same time, Jesus expects us, he gives us all these warnings so that we can be smart and prudent in everything that we do. So he doesn't expect us to be stupid and walk around carelessly without a plan, just saying, God will provide for me. What is Jesus telling me today? Type of thing. Oh, yeah, I think I'm supposed to go to the store and put air in my tires, you know, that kind of stuff. It's no, you work your plan, you use your own brain that God gave you, and then he will take care of the things that you cannot take care of. That's the mentality I believe we ought to have. Would I put all my trust in the food storage down there? No, but it's what I can do in case an emergency hits. And beyond that, I'm going to leave it in God's hands, you know. But I think every year, and to add to that, you know, with they're saying that, and I thought this right when I first started seeing it, when people post pictures of empty stores with no toilet paper and stuff, that actually made people go out and go, oh crap, is all the toilet paper going? Even though there was no good reason for it. Now everybody's going and getting toilet paper because they don't want to be left without toilet paper because they saw the picture of the stores without toilet paper.
The animals, they don't use it. Just lean against a tree and let her go. Okay, that's a totally different subject, but I meant.
Yeah.
But what is the great importance of toilet paper?
Well, exactly. And I think
Not having it, I don't know.
I have been without it.
And then what do you do?
Shower.
All right.
There were some funny posts that we saw about the toilet paper, and moms, after you have a baby, of course it's not very comfortable to use toilet paper, so they give you a little squirt bottle after you have a baby, and you fill it up with warm water and you use the squirt bottle to cleanse yourself. And so the picture was a picture of the little squirt bottle that they give moms after they have a baby, and they're like, no toilet paper, no big deal, we've been training for this for years with all the kids that you have. It's kind of a funny mom joke.
funny.
It's the most silly thing to be hoarding or why toilet paper?
Yeah.
Why not TV dinners?
Yeah.
You know, something that nourishes you. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I mean, it's good to stock up, but not now because it's the panic time.
I
But
think some of it is because they think if we're going to be quarantined in our homes, if it gets to that,
yeah,
that you need the essentials.
Yeah.
You know?
Still
You
got
don't want to be
water.
quarantined without toilet paper.
right.
Still got lots
See,
of water.
if everybody was prepared though, and they already had a supply of toilet paper, if it was just like something that your parents taught you, you always keep with supplies, there would be no rush to the panic to the store. You know what I mean? And so I understand the panic, but to be proactive, it should be a way of life. Maybe for many, maybe it'll be more of a way of life. You make sure you always have that stuff in case of an emergency, because we're so used to always being able just to go to the store and having stuff there.
Right.
I think we gotta sometimes think, put yourself in the mindset of, okay, what if everything shut down today because of something? What do I have to survive for 3 months or something?
Well, how big can this get? I mean, they're shutting down schools, they're shutting down this, concerts, sports. What about businesses? And pretty soon nobody's going to be able to make any money because they can't go to work.
Well, that's the thing. It's eventually going to hit the economy.
Right. This is a plan by the elite. Maybe it's above the government. It's Soros and the Bilderberg. You know, it may be from somewhere else. It may not be a political thing. It may be beyond, above the political situation, you know. Let's see what we can make these little puppets do down there. You know?
Yeah. I have a feeling that it's going to benefit us in the...
Really?
I really do. It just seems like lately, everything God's been doing, the enemies, they're losing every time. Everything they throw at us, it seems to be backfiring.
So this could be the wound, and we'll recover from this wound.
There's one commentator that I followed for years. He actually ran for president a long time ago. He wrote Pat Buchanan. He wrote an interesting article about coronavirus being a very significant blow to the New World Order.
When did he write that?
Just a couple days ago.
Oh, amazing.
Yep, just a couple days ago. And so he was thinking that, when you got the threat or the scare of these types of viruses, like I mentioned earlier, globalism relies on people being able to freely travel between countries and open borders and all these types of things. But when you have to control a virus, now borders now it's hard to talk against having a border and just letting people come in, because now everybody's thinking, I don't want my family getting sick and things like that. So nations seem to be now wanting to protect themselves rather than putting the world first.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah. So it's actually a good thing. So coronavirus could actually support nationalism, but it also could that in turn nationalism is a good thing, but that can also lead to wars between nations.
But I don't think it's going to be very long before we find out where this is really going. A few weeks, a few months, we'll know something pretty quick.
Right.
I don't think it's going to drag on and drag on. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be some solution is going to...
It seems like a lot of people are talking, in about 3 to 4 weeks, stores will be back to normal because all the people already panicked, got the toilet paper. They don't need to keep going back and buying more and more. But yeah, I bet 3 to 4 weeks from now, it's just going to seem different.
Yeah.
But who knows? They could try to totally hype it up, and now they're making it seem like it's worse than, I guess we'll see.
And then if that happens, the economy is going to come surging back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And this is the time to invest in the stock market if you got any extra money sitting around.
Right. Well, it might even be good for people to have a little,
money.
it might even be good to have a little forced Sabbath.
Yeah.
Nobody. It seems forcing people to slow down a little bit. I can't do this and that. It's time to.
And I think it's getting people, again, like 9/11 and stuff,
Yeah.
people closer to God.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should think about that part of our life again,
Yeah, when you're not so busy running around and things slow down, then you start reflecting upon what really matters.
Yeah, or you're scared of what's to come.
I hope this message was a blessing to you. If so, please like, share, and leave your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, my friends, stay in His Word every single day so that you can be a Christian overcomer.